The station will hold the key to the real goals of Group 935.
Starting up the map, you will be immediately greeted with this comic book loading screen and a radio. And this loading screen does the job of simultaneously providing you with where you're at in the story and also giving you extra story details in the form of Richtofen's radio. And like I said with the intro comic panel, it actually introduces time travel into the story for the first time. Doris was set in 1945 and this map takes place in 1963. Let's be completely honest, this is the most iconic starting room of all time. If you're a Zombies fan and you don't recognise this room straight away, then I'm sorry to tell you, but you're missing out. You should go back, play Kino Der Toten and enjoy it. This next win might be a bit strange, but just hear me out. Although this game did release with both Kino and 5, as this is the map you will most likely have heard the sound effect on more, I absolutely love the M1911's sound effects on this game. Like, even the reload sound, whenever I hear that, it just takes me back to the days of Black Ops 1 and pulls me straight back to this map. And unsurprisingly, there is more than one win to this room. Like, if you go over to this confectionery stand and look inside it, you'll see the perks Juggernaut, Quick Revive, Double Tap, and Speed Cola. It also kickstarted one of the biggest debates in Zombies. What did you choose first, the M14 or the Olympia? I can't lie, I was always part of the M14 gang. Another point about this starting room is that when you looked past this barricade, you could see the outside world. It was all bright and sunny, but then you're stuck in this dark, desolate, and lonely environment. I try not to judge people too harshly when I play Zombies, play your own way. But if you chose to go left instead of right from the starting room, then there was something not quite right about you. Although maybe I could forgive you if you saw the mystery box was on the left, but probably not. And if you've been watching my previous videos, you'll know I always love these little vista points in maps where you just look over a huge area. And I love that when you open this first door, you could see the entire stage and be prepared for what you go to later. And in the same area, there are these portraits, and a lot of people say there's 5, but there's actually 6, there's another one on the floor. But that's not too important. What was important was that each time you interacted with these as different characters, they would give you responses, and this was one of the first times in Zombies you would ever get something like that. Such as, if you were Tank and you interacted with Tank, you would get this.
Ah, a tale of two Dempseys. Starts slow, but has a happy ending.
Which is definitely not a reference to Darius and Drac at the time, but still quite funny. Or if you're Nikolai interacting with Takeo, you get this.
I hate you, Takeo.
Or when Takeo interacts with Dempsey, you get this.
A picture of the ugly American.
And I won't go through all of the dialogues from these portraits, but I'll give you one from each character.
Oh, look, it's me, but not quite as magnificent.
And now, in regard to the 5th/6th portrait, people have made theories and there's future things to do with Nikolai that might explain this, but in my opinion, this was just the artist just trying to have a bit of fun putting himself into the map as a silhouette. If I'm wrong, sue me, but you can't prove it. I know for a 1,000,000% fact at some point you have downed right here, haven't you? It doesn't matter how many times I play this game, I will always buy this gun. I don't think I can deny how much I love this next little area because you've got like the sun coming straight in, shining onto the mystery box, these creepy as fuck mannequins all over the place, and it looks genuinely like what it would look like in the back of a theatre back in the day, which is obvious, it should. If you go in the Black Ops 3 version of it, they added so much detailing to the place, but I'm going to save that for when I do the Black Ops 3 segment towards the end of the video. Oh, I wish how I could get that feeling of opening this door for the first time.
Creepy little slime balls raining from the sky. Great.
Now that right there is how it should feel when you turn the power on. And I mean, the way the stage opens up, the projector screen comes falling down, the light of the projector is shining onto it, these images, it's just great. And like I said earlier, I would never judge someone for the way they play this game, but if I see you open this door, and then if you go down once at any point throughout the rest of the game, you are not getting revived. Now let's say you were one of those people that happened to go left instead. As long as the power is on, at least you get the ability to use this incredible trap that I'm really happy they added into it, because it's really cool. But on the note of traps, I believe that this map is built around the sole purpose of just chaining traps together throughout the entire map to be able to defeat the Horde. There is pretty much a trap in every single room in this entire map. And off the top of my head, when thinking about that, I can't really recall many other maps where it's like that. So in my opinion, it does add uniqueness to this map. It always felt so wrong going from this really dark environment straight into the sunlight, but it really works in favour of the map. And I can't believe I'm going to give this a win, but I don't think there's any other gate in Zombies that you can open up. And now that exploring the map is out of the way, just make sure you don't open this door either, because if you do, you'll end up falling into this trap of opening this door too.
I'm gonna flatten the world with this. Ooga! That was badass!
And then Kino Der Toten introduces the Thunder Gun, a gun that would become synonymous with this map because it was so iconic in this state that if you think about the Thunder Gun, you think about Kino Der Toten. And this gun was upgradable, you could add more ammo to it, and almost all the best memories of people during this time were running around this stage and just blasting the horde away. And speaking of upgrading your weapon, this map brings back the Pack-a-Punch in only its second time ever showing up in Zombies. A fun fact you might not know is that this map was actually designed for World at War and then eventually got repurposed for Black Ops 1. And you can kind of tell with the similarities between Doris and this that they were meant to sort of be sibling map to some extent. Like the way you open Pack-a-Punch and the layout of these maps are very, very similar. And I know it wasn't everyone's cup of tea, but I really like the circuit board style camo that they used to put on the gun. I know there was like theories that it used to be like a meteorite that was melted down and put on top of it, but we'll never know. And now this is another memory we've all got where you'd end up in the Pack-a-Punch room and you just start throwing your grenades constantly because there was a wall by inside that room. They would all pile up in the same spot and you just keep on doing it over and over and over again. Unless you were one of the unlucky people that didn't get teleported into the Pack-a-Punch room because they left you. Oh look, another one. Wait, no, it's not 115 or 935. What's wrong with this clock? You've always got to have something around a Group 935 facility to make sure people know it's a Group 935 facility. Now, directly there is no Easter egg to this map. Not per se. But when you teleport, you'll be teleported to these different rooms occasionally where you can find these reels that you have to insert into the projector in the Pack-a-Punch room. And it'll display in the theatre, on the big screen, a load of images of the experiments 935 did whilst also playing you an audio radio. So you could also hear what the background lore was behind these images. This also marks the first time you go to the Revelations house, into Samantha's room. Dr. Monty confirms this in a later radio, but this is the same room and it's the first time you ever visit it. And typically you don't get much time in these rooms, I think it's something like 8 seconds. But when exploring this room, you can find the dolls of the Ultimus crew, the teddy bears, the Sybil monkey. You can find so many little details in this room pertaining to the zombie storyline that really feed into the Origins outro. Or if you were unlucky enough, you go into the dark and evil Samantha's room, which we still don't know the lore for, but I'd like to think it was a developer's joke. Also, it's absolutely horrific. The third room on the list actually seems to be a homage to Varuk to some extent, with all the same sound effects, the same drilling, the same screaming, and a little chair right in the middle. That's disgusting. And the fourth and final room is either a reference to Ascension or to 5. Depends on how you look at it, really.
In the past weeks, we have made great strides in breaking through to their subconscious. I have had the projectionists make edits to the film. These changes have been very effective.
The other purpose behind these reels was actually to give you the audio as to what the reels were for. They were using these in particular to mind control their experiments when they were trying to reanimate the dead.
Subject 2-6 has had a breakthrough.
If only he knew that experiment 2-6 would end up being the person that killed his lover. There was also something really creative about where they hid the radios back then. Like this one was hidden inside a chandelier on the ceiling and you would never really notice it unless you were staring with a sniper. Or the other one that was hidden all the way outside of the map on top of this guard tower. And speaking of outside of the map and this guard tower, you can actually find the Berlin Wall as well. And just further in the distance, you can also see the Berlin Communications Tower as well. Obviously, the map is set in Berlin, so these things are to be expected, but it's still nice they put them in the distance when they really didn't have to. On the floor in the storage area, you can also find these letters that spell out Manhattan down. If you weren't there at the time, you won't get this, but there were so many myths and legends about how to climb this ladder that, to this day, it was still something that I wasn't sure if you could, so I had to research it again now. I love how they've just got test tube humans in all these little canisters all over the place. This map also introduces the Nova Crawlers, which at this time was probably not thought about, but I personally believe that they were experimentations with the Apothicons. If you look at the facial features between the two, it's not really that hard to say that that's probably the truth. So they're mostly reused assets around the map, but there are 3 distinct posters that you can find on the walls for movies that do not actually exist. But they are referencing real-life movies, like Faust is genuinely based on the 1926 German silence fantasy horror film, and I believe Pygmalion is based on Metropolis. The only one that strangely doesn't fit it is this one. Not quite sure what the purpose is, but I presume it's just a random piece of art. So around the map there is quite a lot of chalk writing. Most of them seem to be quite nonsense. Like this one says Samantha, Amelia and Abigail, but we don't know who these other two names are. We don't know who Samantha is. Or this one over here that says Beware of the Six. We don't know who the Six are. It might pertain to the Nova 6 crawlers, but they were never officially called Nova 6 crawlers at any point in this game. Or ones like knowledge itself is for the taking. This one feels a bit more obvious as to what it means in the zombies lore later on with Richtofen. But almost all of these chalk writings genuinely led into the theories and the community making stuff up to try and make sense of this story, which was really great at the time. I mean, at some point Lovely Maxis did work at this base, so it makes sense that Samantha's teddy bear is also here. And of course, being a classic map, it does house the typical Elena Seigman and Kevin Sherwood song, where you have to go and find these 3 meteorites around the map and interact with them, and it will begin playing. So now comes one of the stranger Easter eggs in all of Zombies. Obviously back then Easter eggs were pretty simplistic. They were not made to be these big quests, they were made to just be like little bits of fun in the map. And on this one you have to go up to this mannequin, jump 5 times in front of it, and then when you happen to get into the room with the rocket, you can interact with it and make it just fly through the roof. Why? No one will ever know, but it's there. I can't have been the only one that was just wasting all of their ammo shooting at themselves in this little camera, right? Just to confirm, these are bloody footprints going up this wall, so I'm really intrigued to know how this happened and what exactly happened here. In my last video with Varrock, one of the things I paid attention to more than anything was the sound design. So when going forward into these future maps, I want to keep paying attention to little bits like that, and in this map I came across something unusual. The sound design for it is very, very subtle. It's not as simple as it seems. It's not like it's got all these howls that you just heard there or anything like that. Throughout the map, it is pretty much just that howl going through the entire place, and when you're in the Pack-a-Punch room, you can hear the reels. The environment itself does not have that many sound effects to it, which is quite interesting. And truth be told, that's probably perfect for a place like this. This facility has been left to time, worn down and destroyed over the years. There's nothing that should be giving off sounds typically, so just howls going through the place makes total sense. And that is not to say the sound design is rough in any way. For example, the sound of the thunder gun blasting away is something that is so iconic and stuck in my mind for the rest of time. Or the sound of the Nova crawlers crawling through the ceiling and breaking the walls apart. There are some other little subtleties to this, but all in all, Kino is very special in the way that it handles its sound. Kino also gets a special point for the fact that it's the first zombie map that was made for zombies. There's no multiplayer map, there's no campaign mission for it. It was built with the sole purpose of being a zombies map in mind.
Accidental discharge, Richtofen?
And now it's time I go through all of the map's audio and try and find all the voice lines that I think are best. It wouldn't be right if I didn't start with Nikolai's most infamous request.
On my way, Dempsey, but you owe me some vodka in return!
Perhaps aim at Dempsey next time.
That was not your shot, but your breath.
A little crawling minion.
I've had one!
Hey, Richtofen, wind it up and hold it for a while. I want to see what happens.
They fall before your ugliness.
I have been recognized by Treya, the Illuminati.
Come, baby, we do the 59, eh?
Hey, player, I need more ammo or we're going down.
The sight of you made its head explode. Thank you, disembodied girl voice.
Dempsey, if you had a brain cell for every headshot, you'd only be stupid.
Hey, Takeo, wind it up and see if Richtofen will chase it down.
I hate you, Dempsey. I even hate your eyes.
And I was going to leave it at 100 and just continue on with the rest of the video, but then I heard this one and I could not help but put this one in the video too.
Dempsey and Monkey sitting in the tree. Killing. I spelled it right?
And all 4 of these guys are going to get a win, along with Craig Houston. A lot of people probably won't know that Craig Houston was writing it even back then, but a lot of the iconic dialogue that we know from today probably came from him. So I'm going to go on to the Black Ops 3 stuff now, and there really isn't that much. If you don't want to hear me ramble for the next minute or so about how nice and beautiful the map is, then feel free to skip to the end and see the win counter. But all I really want to do when I discuss the Black Ops 3 version is discuss how much of a successful remastering this really is. It takes the original map, which was this dark and desolate environment, and takes it into something new, grand and great. A cinema back in the day was something that was meant to be grand and great, so the whole golden tones this has got, the way that all the textures have been completely redone to make it look like a grand cinema, was probably the original idea behind it, but obviously at the time they were very limited. Whereas when they came into Black Ops 3, they could do anything they wanted and give it all these things that it didn't previously have. And they added so many little subtle details to make sure that people knew that it was going to be that way. Like, for example, in the back room, you've got all these things all over the desk, such as cigarette boxes, drinks, makeup, all this little extra detail that could never have been on it before. Or the way that when you open up the stage, the whole room looks completely different now if you compare them between the two. But it looks so much better on Black Ops 3, and I cannot praise that enough. So as with all Zombie Chronicles maps, there is a Samantha's Lullaby Easter egg, and it revolves around this door. But just for a bit of fun this time, why don't you go and try and figure it out yourself without looking at a YouTube guide? It could be quite fun for you. Roll credits.